Hi, good morning, ladies. Hope everybody, well, good afternoon. I apologize. Hope everybody's having a good day so far. So, a little bit more here to cover in our discussion on qualitative research and the different steps that you want to take in doing and conducting this methodology, which, as I said, I would imagine that many of you, I'm sorry. Oh, I imagine that many of you all will probably utilize some of these methods at some point. So one of the things, again, you just want to be familiar with the relevant research. So even in doing qualitative research, it's really important that you do a lot of background secondary data analysis even before you go into the field, because you want to be really familiar with what's been researched before, what are some different trends and patterns within the field. That'll help you even guide you on what you should be looking for once you get out there. You want to be able to discuss your plans with others in the area. Again, it's always very helpful to share ideas with others. So, uh, people again that have some level of expertise within the field. So, not just sharing it necessarily like with your cousin or your boyfriend or something like that. Although it can be helpful if you want to get an outside opinion, but sharing it with another psychologist, another social scientist. Um, you want to be able to again identify and meet the informants, and the first impressions that you make, like with any situation, are going to be crucially important in that regard. And one of the things that you can really only do by practice is establishing rapport. So it looks like rapport, but it's pronounced rapport. And that just speaks to where you have people that are going to be giving you confidential information. We talked about this a little bit in terms of like you potentially doing setting up an interview, that for people to reveal things that are oftentimes can be difficult, it's really important that they feel like they can trust you. So establishing that rapport and making them feel comfortable is really important, because again, you want to make sure that you get at the heart of truth, and people are going to be more truthful with people that they feel like they can trust and that aren't going to judge them based upon the information that they share, etc. So again, we talk about a qualitative interview, and again, utilize these materials to help you with these steps, whether you do them here or later in the future. In a survey, right, one of the main differences. So surveying, you all have done surveys before. Um, it is a group of preset questions. Again, they're already listed and written out. With a qualitative interview, though, you may have a general topic, but the questions you kind of make up as you go along. You have a sense in your head. So again, if so Diamond, if you want to look at the educational attainment and how the parent structure impacts that, your general area, but some of the questions that you may ask may be based upon what they tell you. So in this regard, you have a category of ideas that you want to get across, and you'll have your sense in your head when you went in there, Diamond, of the kind of questions that you want to ask. But some of them, again, they may answer for you in the course of the discussion. Others may become less relevant. You also want to be mindful of the 7 steps in the research in an interviewing process. One of the reasons why people do survey research as opposed to interviews and things like that is that interviews can be really time consuming. Asking the questions themselves is not as difficult and time consuming, but what does take a great deal more time is like, so in there, and luckily for y'all, there's equipment that helps you do this in the 21st century. But transcribing interviews, what this speaks to, Letitia, is that if I interview you, I'm going to record the interview with a device. And then I have to write down every single word that was said in the interview. Very time consuming, right? So I know many people when they were in grad school or even as professionals, they pay people to do it. Like I said, you know, there's technology that exists now that will do it for you. So it's a lot easier than it was before, but still very time consuming. And then after you transcribed it, here's what's really important. You have to analyze the data. So within these long discussions, right, there are going to be patterns that you have that is going to be your job to be able to analyze for. That, okay, you interview 20 single mothers, Diamond, about their, you know, trying to find more about, you know, their positioning and their children's educational attainment. What you're going to be looking for in those 20 interviews are, okay, look, I've asked these some of them the same questions, and there are certain things that they keep bringing up again and again and again. So there may be certain topics that a Black mother, a mother with, you know, $80,000 or more salary, a mother with a college degree, that all of them are bringing up again and again and again. Some things like, okay, well, this mother, she went on a little bit about this. This one talked about this, but all of them are talking about, you know, the cost of childcare. So in that way, again, it's your job to go through all that interview data and kind of make sense of, are there any patterns amongst these groups that you see and that you can verify and report? Sometimes people use also what's called a focus group, and you all have probably seen focus groups before. During presidential election season, for example, they may have like 20 people sitting in a room, Janai, and watch like a presidential debate. And they just ask people, you know, hey, what did you think about when they said this? What did you think about their healthcare plan? And they use that focus group kind of as a microcosm, a sample. That focus group, Janai, is almost a sample for America. So in your focus group, right, you want to make, if your focus group is going to be a sample of America, what are some things that you got to consider in the construction of your focus group? What are some things that you got to consider in the construction of your focus group? If you're going to say that it's a sample, a scientific sample of America, what are some things that you want to consider in terms of who to put in your focus group? Come on now.
You said as far as who we should consider?
Yes, like what are the things that, okay, I want to put together a focus group. What kind of things you want to keep in mind?
The participants have to reside within America.
Say it again, Janai.
You said far as like the focus group, so I have to take in consideration that they have to be residing within the states of America.
Well, so what I mean by this is that if we know that 10% of the population makes over $100,000 a year, we want to make sure that we have at least 2 people that fit into that criteria in this focus group. If we know that it's 50% women in America, then our focus groups needs to be 50% women. If we know that it's 15% Hispanic people, our focus group needs to reflect that. So in that way, right, when we talking about you got to do the background research, you got to do that first to kind of like know even how you should set up. Because if you interview 20 of your friends in a focus group, I mean, that could be interesting, but it ain't really scientific. So again, a focus group, again, is, you know, the advantages there. You get some real life data. It can be flexible. It's valid. It's very inexpensive, and it's fast. It's not perfect. No method is. You may make some broader conclusions from this focus group that may not necessarily be true of the entire population. But the goal in sampling is like, look, that this group that I'm studying is representative of what's going on in the wider America. That in me studying these 100 single parent households, I can tell you something about the educational attainment of single parent kids in households throughout America. Is that going to be a perfect analysis? Absolutely not. So the same way, right? That with medications, like when to do the vaccine, you can't just have only white people doing the vaccine or in the trials. You got to have a whole subsection of the population for your results to really be relevant. Make sure that you record your observations. Taking detailed notes is really important. Again, we talk about empiricism. They said we can both see, touch, and feel. Don't tell me, Janiyah, that more people are committing suicide during COVID. Show me something that I can look at independently of you telling me, where I can see that for myself. Give me some numbers and data. Again, in the example that I share with you, like, there was an attempt again to say like, hey, I'm making these claims that Black people are targeted more heavily by the police than white people. So a lot of people that say that, no, that's not true. So I tried to give a whole bunch of numbers and the sources where those numbers came from. So maybe I'm lying. Maybe because I'm Black, I'm biased, and I just want people to think that Black people are mistreated by the police, and maybe that's not really true. Cool, don't take my word for it. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. What I'm trying to do is present the facts and allow intelligent people to make their own judgments. That's what you all want to do as well in your research. Make note of some of the strengths and weaknesses of qualitative field research, much like we talked about the strengths and weaknesses of experiments, surveys. And if you could, log on to, I'm gonna have you all log off here on Zoom and have y'all earn some points, since we can't get on camera to earn points here today, but we can earn points by taking a quiz that's available to you now. Go out to e-learning and take it, not now, but right now, it'll close at 1:45. We'll resume at this time on Tuesday. Again, your quiz is available on e-learning. There's a timer on it. The timer's gonna be clicking as soon as you open it up. So please work swiftly. You don't have a lot of time to do it, but it should not be very time consuming. If you leave the screen or you pause it, it's gonna lock you out and you're gonna get the score wherever you're at. So make sure that you start it at a time where you can finish it.